This is the Just Because Buzz, and thanks for joining me. I'm Merritt Crawford, and I'm happy to have another video to share with you and lots of content to go over. So I'm just gonna jump right in, but first I do want to welcome you back. I want to say thank you for my subscribers for coming back and visiting with me. Last I checked, I had 99 subscribers, and that's kind of a drop in a bucket compared to some folks, but it's been kind of fun to see that number go up and see the number of views go up on my videos. So hopefully folks are enjoying and liking what they see. I've enjoyed comments from folks, and that's been a blessing because that was one of my purposes for creating the video, was to connect with folks. And so thank you for commenting. I welcome them, and I love to comment back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I've invited several folks to come by and visit, and I hope that they will, and I hope they enjoy it and will comment and like and subscribe. Maybe if I get over that 100 mark, we'll do a little prize or something. So thank you again for stopping by. I hope you enjoy this day with me. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in because I have a lot to share with you. The first thing I want to share with you is kind of my usual order. It's an old fully finished project that is actually wool applique instead of a cross stitch project this time. And this is actually my own design. It's a little wool mat, and has a button on it with the owl, and it's a barrel button, so the hole all the way down through the center of the button. And so he sits there in that tree, and then I have the pumpkins and the leaves. I used a buttonhole stitch for most of the stitching in this project, with the exception of the leaves and the moon, and they're just a straight stitch. And this was just a fun, quick stitch. I hope to develop a pattern for it one day and share it with everyone if they want to stitch it, but definitely a fun stitch. Next will be an old finished cross stitch project that's ready to be fully finished, and it was stitched on 14 count Aida, and this being September, it's my dad's birthday month coming up at the end, and he loves trains, so I thought this would be an appropriate cross stitch piece to share. Can't remember the source where I got the pattern, but hope to finish it fully, probably in some kind of maybe ornament. Not completely sure, but I thought it was pretty. Love the colors. Okay, so recent fully finished objects. So I recently had shown you the Lizzie Kate Thankful string. Recently showed you that as just a finished work of cross stitch. But recently I went shopping with my daughter. We were down in Bowling Green, Ohio, and went to a vintage shop and had my eye out for an old rolling pin that would be big enough to put the Thankful string on. And so had been milling around the store for a while, and we were getting ready to leave, and I looked, and there was a big rolling pin sitting there, and I picked it up, and I thought, measured it, because I had measured what I needed, and the vision of what I had planned went a little differently, but I think overall I liked the outcome, and I got a lot of compliments on it via Facebook and Instagram too. But I have some other ideas if I do this again. But this is an old rolling pin. It's a kind of a big, fat rolling pin, fat handles, but really fun stitch and fun finish. I loved putting the rickrack around that and kind of framing it, and then using this fabric, fall fabric, and then decided to tie it on so I could take it off and maybe use the rolling pin for another project. If I do another string project by Lizzie Kate or something that would fit on it, I think that would be fun. But this was really exciting to find a vintage rolling pin and then finish a piece of cross stitch on it. And I display it in my fall decorations. So the thread colors and such I've shared in previous videos that I've used a lot of different things than were charted, just because I was trying to use what I had in my stash. So if you have questions about that, I'd be happy to share. So Lizzie Kate, Thankful String, finished on a vintage rolling pin. I have more rolling pins that I've planned to finish on too, and I'll show you that in a little bit in haul. And I've also got my eye out. I'd really like to find one that has the red handles. I haven't found that yet, but I have my eye out looking for one. All right, so now I'm going to move to some new projects that are ready to be fully finished. In fact, I'm pretty far along in the finishing process. I've started it anyway, and recently I started watching a FlossTube. Michelle at Mama Loves You GB. She recently had a FlossTube where she showed pretty pumpkins. It's a free pattern from Owl Forest Embroidery, and I just thought it was gorgeous. And so I went out there to look at the pattern and downloaded it and decided to start stitching it. But I had some different ideas for the pumpkins, because recently Cynthia Brew with Stitching in the Light had asked me to participate in providing a prize for the raffle for the project that she's doing in October. And so it's the Great Pumpkin Sow, and I wanted to participate in that. So my prize, I wanted it to be a pumpkin as well, or something related to pumpkins. So when I saw what Michelle had stitched, I thought it was gorgeous, and downloaded that pre-pattern and started stitching some pumpkins. So the first piece that I finished was this one. And in her chart, or excuse me, in the chart from Owl Forest, the pumpkins are separate. They're not stacked on top of each other. I did that myself and added the vine, and then used some variegated floss to kind of create the bottom pumpkin. It is a floss from what used to be Crescent Colors, and so it is called Caribbean Waters. And then the orange pumpkin is a combination of 2 DMC flosses, 1 strand of 976 and 1 strand of 783. So I stitched the pumpkin with that DMC, and then the top pumpkin is ecru from DMC, and then the thread is actually a Valdini thread, and it is 2 strands of a Valdini thread. And let me get that for you. It is a specialty thread by Valdini. It's hand over dyed, and it's called Green Olives, and that's what I used for the vine. So it's very pretty. It's a 25 weight thread, and it can be used with quilting. It can be used, it's 100% cotton. It can be used for embroidery, so decided to use it for the vine and the leaf. So that's one of them. And then decided to stitch another one, because initially I had planned on this bottom pumpkin to be the orange pumpkin, and somehow started stitching the orange in the pumpkin in the middle. So anyway, I thought, okay, well, I'll stitch again. So I did this one, and again, these are all from that same chart, the little bird and the pumpkin, the 2 pumpkins, and then the bottom swirl underneath the largest pumpkin is something I just kind of did as a addition, and then the other swirls are an adaptation of what was on the chart. So these will be turned into a needle book, both of these. So I've started that process where I'm working on the back, very similar to needle books that I've made in the past, where it has the little patchwork back and then the little book binding and big stitch quilting on this part. So I'm working on getting those finished. And one of these will be a prize for Cynthia and the project that she's working on. So I'm excited to have those. I think they're really pretty, and I really enjoyed stitching on those pumpkins. All right, so now we're going to go to Works in Progress, the Noel Naturals. So if you've watched my channel before, you've seen the progress on Noel Naturals, but if you haven't, I thought I would just share those again. I kind of pinned them to my board this time so they won't fall off on us. So there's actually, this is the pattern. It's out of a For the Love of Cross Stitch magazine, January 1999, and there's 11 ornaments. And so far, these are fully stitched and back stitched. So we have bittersweet, juniper, the Christmas rose, cranberries, pine, poinsettia, mistletoe. And then these four, I have snowberries, bayberries, laurel, and then the final one is holly and ivy. And so I'm in the process of finishing this one. This has been such a fun stitch, and I'm quite honestly can't believe I'm on the last one. It's really been fun, and it's been a good evening stitch. I've really enjoyed it. So plans for that is to turn it into, I'd like to turn it into a banner that would go across a mantle, and have some ideas about how I would do that using kind of a pennant style. Instead of putting letters across a pennant, it would finish these as the focal point of each triangular shape. So we'll see. I'm gonna have to give it a try first on a sample of something else and see if I like how it's looking. So I want to share with you some quilty things now. I still have some cross stitch things to share with you, but I'm going to throw in my quilting things right now too. The first thing is, as you know, a friend of mine and I, Louise, have been stitching on the Farm Girl Vintage blocks, book 1, book 2, and then we took a few blocks out of the Spelling Bee book. And so we've been starting with putting the blocks together in rows. And so I'll flip my phone around so you can see my design wall. And the middle section there with the girl on either side of her, those are all stitched, as you can see, because it has the cornerstones and the sashing. So that is finished as far as sashing and cornerstones. The very top row is sashed, so I still have quite a bit to do. I have 3 rows at the top still to sash and cornerstone, and then I have 4 rows at the bottom that need to be sashed and cornerstone. All right, and then as part of the pumpkin, the Great Pumpkin Sow, I also decided to create a mug mat that'll be part of the giveaway that Cynthia will have. And I used the pumpkin that's out of the Farm Girl Vintage book. I created this pumpkin, and the mug mat pattern actually is in her Farm Girl Vintage Christmas book, and you can use any 6-inch block. works with that pattern. So of course the Farm Girl Vintage books each have a 6-inch block version, or you could do the 12-inch block. And then the Christmas book has the same type thing. You can do a 6-inch or a 12-inch. So the mug mat pattern is in the Christmas book, and it's very simple to follow. And so for the raffle, I'm going to be giving Cynthia the permission to give this away. And so this was, like I said, the pumpkin that's in the Farm Girl Vintage 2 book. And so it's got a little place where you could put a utensil like a spoon or a straw. And so I quilted it and bound it. And this is the back. So fun little project. Somebody will enjoy it, I'm sure. And then I did another one, but this is to be gifted to a friend. And this pumpkin came out of the Farm Girl Vintage book, the first one. And so this pumpkin right here. And I haven't got it bound yet, but I do have it quilted, pieced and quilted. And so this one looks a lot like the pumpkin that's in my Farm Girl Vintage quilt. And again, it has the little pocket. And I just did kind of an all-over swirl stitch on it. And you can see the quilting better on the back. And then I have my binding cut. Not quite ready to stitch on yet, but it's going to be the same as the backing. And so I hope to get this finished quickly and get it gifted and mailed off. So that was a lot of fun. Love making those. And then the big thing that's happened since I last visited with you is I mentioned in a previous video that I was getting ready to launch a pattern. And that has happened. And I had my first class last Thursday at Garden View Farms in Grand Rapids, Ohio, and I had a mother and daughter come and do a you-pick where you could go out in their gardens and pick the flowers, and we did that for about 30 minutes, and then the remaining hour and a half they worked on making their eyeglass case, and both of them finished. The little girl was 10 and then the mom, and it was just an enjoyable time. We had a great time sitting and talking, and in fact, they're new to the area too, so it was just neat, and it was a great test too to see if the pattern could be completed in the amount of time that we had, and it worked out. They both completed their project, and so it truly was a make and take. They didn't go home with a project that they had to complete, so I was thrilled about that. So to share with you, these were my prototypes. So this was the first one I made, and got the idea, thought, okay, I think I really want to try to make this into a pattern. And that was the sunflower, and then this was the prototype for the hydrangea. And so this is what kind of got me going. And then this is the pattern. And so in previous videos, I shared that I had found a local source in Grand Rapids as well that has the wool, and they allowed me to use their needle felting machine that has 800 needles. And a neat thing about that was my mom recently sent me a article/video about the couple that created the machine, and they live in excuse me, they live in Kentucky. So that was pretty neat for me, and in fact not far from where I used to live, in a county just next door to my county. So that was pretty neat. So this is my new pattern, and it's Sunny Days eyeglass cases, and it's wool, and the patterns are available now, and all you have to do is email me and I can tell you how to get them, and I'll leave my email address at the bottom of the show notes. And then also I have kits. I have kits for the hydrangea, which includes all the pieces pre-cut and the thread that you need. And then I have kits for the sunflower. So again, everything's pre-cut, all the thread that you need. There's even a needle in there, and you would just be ready to stitch. You wouldn't have to cut anything out. You just start stitching. So really, I think it's a fun project. I think they turned out great. I'm excited about them. I hope you'll contact me and let me know that you might be interested. And I think you'd have a lot of fun. They make great Christmas gifts. So the fact that you don't have to cut anything out, you can just start stitching. You'd have them done, I would say, in 2 hours, because we finished the ones we did in our class. We finished in 1.5 hours. So we'll give you that extra 30 minutes to get it done. So it was great. I'm really thankful that I've been able to do this, and I hope to do more. The previous wool fully finished project that I showed you at the beginning, I sure hope to create into a pattern. And so this is the beginning of some beautiful things, I hope. So next we get to haul, and boy, do I have some haul for you. So as you know, I like estate sales, and there are quite a few in my area. And recently I was looking online at estate sales, and there was one in my area that was actually pretty close. The previous one that we went to was up in Michigan. But this one had a particular item that I was really interested in. And I was interested in it for my friend Louise. And so I wasn't sure by the picture if I was going to be able to get it or not. It looked like another toy sewing machine. And based on the picture, I couldn't tell what condition it was in. I could just tell that's what it was, or that's what it looked like. And my daughter and I had found other items that we were interested in. Mainly, there was a big primitive table at this sale, and there were rolling pins on the table. And I was excited about those based on what you've just seen. And so there were several items that we were interested in. And sorry, I had to take a sip of drink and get something to drink. So anyway, there were just several items we were interested in. So we had plans to get up early that morning and go, and it didn't quite work out. Our dog Allie has had some issues recently where she would come upstairs, but then she wouldn't go down. And so that particular evening, she was having issues, and so my daughter wound up sleeping on the couch and didn't have a good night's sleep. So when she got up the next morning and went to her bed, she was just dog tired. So pardon the pun. But anyway, so I just said, that's fine. We'll go when we go. If the things are there when I get there, that's great. If they're not, it wasn't meant to be. That's just the attitude I have with these estate sales, because you just never know. And so when she got up, we just made a plan of what time we would leave, and we left about 12:30 and got over there, and there was a line out the door. And I thought, oh, wow, they're still lined up. So we went over and got our number and stood in line. But we were there for maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most. And we were able to have access into the house. They were limiting the number of people to come in the house. And, of course, we wore a mask. And so I asked the gentleman that let us in the house, I said, hey, can you tell me where the primitive things are, the big table that had all the primitive things? And so he took me right there. And so one of the things I had spied in the picture was another rolling pin. So I went ahead and put that in my stash, things that I wanted. Some of the other rolling pins were tiny, and so I thought these would be really cute for finishes as well. This looks to be a solid piece of wood, and I thought that was pretty neat. And then these toy rolling pins. Love the green handles. So I think these will be fun for some cross stitch finishes. And then look at the blue handles. So cute. So really, really cute. And then also on the primitive table, I was interested in this enamel red-handled piece. And again, for a round finish, I think it would be really, really cute for a round finish. So I had spied that in the picture. And then I had also spied this. So I think that would be cute with something hanging down as well. A little vintage green there. And then found this little tray. I think it would be cute for a finish as well. You could put like a wool mat there. You could do a cross stitch design in there. I love the scalloped edge. That was pretty cute. And then this little wooden tray, I thought this was very cute too. So I was excited to get that. The primitive table was a lot of fun. And then I saved a miniature quilt as well. And this looks to be that it was stitched and hand quilted by the owner. So I thought that was so pretty. Great for a patriotic table. All right, so then we went upstairs and I saw a lady that was working the sale, and I said, okay, where are the sewing machines? And she said, well, we've sold one and here are the other two. And the one that I was interested in was still there. And as it turns out, this is it. And when I got to looking at it, I noticed that it had the music box in it. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's a music box. And it still works. So it plays yesterday. So I was thrilled to be able to get this for my friend, and I couldn't stand it. I told her about it. I wanted to surprise her, but couldn't stand it. Had to share it with her and tell her about it. So, what a find. I was excited. So then some more things in the sewing room. So my friend Louise that I got the sewing machine for, she also loves estate sales. So she's kind of talked me through some things that I should look for and tips and tricks. And so as we were in the sewing room, there were bags of trims and buttons. And so I couldn't resist. And look at this tiny rickrack, how cute. Oh. And then another bag of trims. This yellow rickrack. And just cute little trims. So lots of little treasures there. I was excited to get the bags with trims in them. And then in the closet, she had some cross-stitch kits, and she had some needlepoint things, and she had even a frame for stitching. So I found this for stitching when I one day decide to do samplers. I think I would like to try to stitch it on one of the frames. And quite a good buy on this. It's 21 inches, I believe. I think that's correct. And it's adjustable. So I was able to find that. Also down in the closet there was vintage trim. 4 yards of this vintage trim. And I was able to get 2 packages of the red, and there were 2 packages of the green, that same design, and then another trim. So just fun things. Also down in the closet there was this kit for a country folk doll. I wasn't so much interested in making that as the blue indigo fabric and this little check fabric. That's what I was really interested in saving. I don't think I will make that doll, but I do like that fabric, and so I saved it for that. Found some vintage lace trim, still in a package, never been opened. Pretty lace trim. Another little kit, and this is a little Christmas tree kit, and it's got all the little beads in it and such. I actually saw a piece like this finished down in the basement near the Christmas things, but I didn't save it. Couldn't save everything. Also down in the basement, now this I did have to save. Look what I found. A Prairie Schooler fully finished ornament. And recently when I was watching Stitching with the Sisterlies, they both have recently bought this pattern. It's the Prairie Schooler 2006. And I could not believe I found it fully finished. So I had to save it. It has a little hanger and has the back all done, little pillow ornament. And my friend Louise, she stitched a few of these, so Louise gets this. Then I found another little stitch to save. It's pretty country looking, but I think it'll look cute in a vignette. It's really sweet. And I love red, so it was hard not to leave, just couldn't leave it there. Then I found this interesting book, Cross Stitch Designs for Christmas by the Danish Handcraft Guild. And recently, Amanda, I believe it's her name. Is that right? I'll have to link it below. I can't remember. Artist Designs. Anyway, she was recently talking about some of the projects and books and patterns she has from the Danish Handcraft Guild. And then I found this book. I was like, wow, what are the chances? She was just talking about that. And then I found this book. And it's got some really pretty designs in it. This was another kit that was down in the closet. And it's this cute little girl pulling a sled with packages on it. And the name of it, it says 1948 Winter Girl. It's a full kit, never been opened. I just thought it was so sweet. Love her little coat with the fur. Just really cute. And then I found this. This is probably this pattern for cross stitch pattern for birds. This is probably the most realistic cardinal I've seen anyway. I just thought it was a beautiful picture of a cardinal. And the other birds too. But I really like that cardinal. I thought it was just beautiful. And then the wrens, or excuse me, not wrens. That might be the wren. I don't know my birds very well. Goldfinch. Love the goldfinch. So this is Crosswing Collection. North American Favorites #3. Really, really pretty chart. And then I also, even though I don't do needlework, I felt like this was a find, and I think it was. It is a authorized Grazia, I may not be saying that right, hand-painted needlepoint design. And I can tell that you might not be able to see this very well. See if I can put something behind it. I looked it up on eBay to see, because I wasn't real familiar with it, and there's a site on eBay or a seller on eBay that's asking $59.95 for it, I didn't pay near that. I might have paid $1 for it. So, wow. And like I said, I'm not a needle pointer, but again, Artist Designs was talking about indigenous people the other day on her FlossTube. And I thought of her when I saw this. I was like, wow, where are the chances? So I picked it up. I'm not sure what's going to happen with it yet. But it is really sweet. And quite a find. Also found these. These would be great for little tarts, but also great for cross stitch finishes. That would be fun. And there are, I don't know, 12 of them. Cute little stack. It was $1, I think. I got into a fabric stash as well, this lady. This is all the same estate sale, just so you know. I've been wanting a frog, a floral frog, and got one of those. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to put it, use it for making a stitching little organizer, scissor holder, that kind of thing. But in her fabric stash, a couple things. One, found some great ticking for finishing, especially with patriotic. I love that ticking. So that's going to be a great find. I found some felt. This is probably not wool felt, but it's a brown felt, and it would be fun for making little samples. So I snagged it. Not sure what I'll use with it. She did have tons of cross stitch fabric, Ada. I did not save it all. There was just no way. But I did save this piece. This is kind of a, it is an Ada, and it had some interesting texture to it, almost kind of looking natural, like a burlap almost kind of look, but much more refined and very nice. And I did say that it's actually a big, long, narrow piece. But one thing that I noticed, when I was going through the fabric, I found this red gingham, and I was like, oh, that's cute. I like that a lot. But then when I unfolded it, she was doing chicken scratch on it and had started this tulip, and I thought that was pretty cool. So not sure what I'll do with that. I may try to finish what she was stitching based on, I mean, she did one side at the bottom, so I guess I could kind of do one more or something, and it would be a cute window covering or something like that, or you could make a pillow. The thing is, she started in the very middle of the piece, so I'm not sure what her plans were. Obviously didn't get to meet her, but with her starting in the middle of the piece, maybe she was doing a window treatment, or maybe a pillow. Not real sure. And then found this piece of fabric, and there's 4 yards of this, and it's not cross stitch fabric. It's like a fabric that you would use for a tablecloth, and I just thought it was just really, really pretty. And for a summer tablecloth, I thought it would be really, really nice. This was another kit that was down on the floor in her little sewing room. It's little tiny cross stitch kits, and there's the backings are already made. They're gonna make really cute little Christmas ornaments, cute little projects. And I did get a floral arrangement that's already downstairs. So just really nice estate sale. we really enjoyed it, had a good time. Um, so I would encourage you, if you like that kind of thing, you can find some little treasures, especially um, when you look online. You can look at the pictures and you can decide if it's going to be something that would be worth your while or not. Um, and I've just gone to the mindset that if it's meant to be, that I get to get it, or if it's at the right price or whatever, fine. If not, then it's okay. Um, so I don't go with any expectation that I'll get what I want when I go, because I know other people are looking and wanting similar things. So on the other day, I was mentioning finding the rolling pin in Bowling Green. My daughter and I also found a coffee shop that had a bookstore, used bookstore associated with it, and so that was really fun. And I found a couple of books. This is Sweetly Stitched Handmaids, and the fun thing about this find was the pattern that I use to make my little needle books is by the same gal. And so this was really fun. Amy Sinabaldi, I believe is how you say her name. And so Nana and Company, I believe, is her little business. And it was fun to find this book of her projects, because they're really, really cute. And then also found this book called Quilt It with Wool. And so that was a fun find too, in light of doing my wool applique. And now there are a lot of patterns, quilt patterns, that have the combination of 100% cotton quilting fabrics and then also having wool applique on top. So this was a fun find as well. $5 each, could pass them up. Oh, I did find these linens too at the estate sale. I thought they were very pretty. Linens, tablecloth. Look at the stitching and the hem. I thought that was very pretty. 3 little separate types of stitches. And then a real pretty, this is like a table runner actually. Reminds me of a picnic. So great for 4th of July decorating and things like that. So yeah. So it was fun. Enjoy the estate sale. It was a lot of fun. Don't do them real often, but every now and then you find one that was just really worth going to, and enjoyable, and run well, and you felt safe going, and so enjoyed it a lot. I did get a cookbook too. Being from Baton Rouge in Louisiana, this lady had what they said was the largest cookbook collection in the area. There were shelves and shelves and shelves and shelves of books, cookbooks. And I found a Commander's Palace cookbook that she had gotten back in the 90s, I guess. So not real old, but I didn't have one of those in my collection. I have a lot of other Louisiana cookbooks, but not that one. And so it was fun to get a famous restaurant's cookbook out of her collection, since she was an avid cookbook collector. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. Lots going on. Estate sales, launching a pattern, doing my first class since I've moved to Ohio. My next class, by the way, if you're local, is going to be at Garden View Farms, and it's Thursday, September 24th. I would love for you to join me. All you have to do is go to their website, Garden View Weddings, and sign up. And we do 30 minutes of you pick, where you're working out in the garden, and you get to pick any of the flowers that will fit in the container that they give you. And I mean, the dahlias and the sunflowers and all of that, just beautiful. Zinnias. I'll try to post some pictures at the end so you can see some of the flowers that we saw. And then I'll also post some pictures of some of my flowers. The other day I was out looking at my zinnias, and it was early morning, and there was a bumblebee sleeping in the center of the zinnia. He had just fallen asleep. And then yesterday I found one buzzing around. You could actually hear him buzz. It was just such a sweet sound. So anyway, I would love for you to join me if you're local and come do the class. You'll go away with a completed project. And then always I want to leave you with something encouraging. I've been going through a book that was recommended by my church when we were living in Kentucky. It's called Identity Theft, and it's written by several ladies, and basically it's reclaiming the truth of who we are in Christ. And one of the truths that I came across last week when I was reading this, it says, God's love for me is based on His character, not mine. What an amazing love. Thank you for joining me. I hope you'll like, subscribe, give me a comment. I'd love to talk to you about anything that you've seen on here or answer any questions. I hope you have a great week, and hopefully next time I'll be able to be back on my schedule of about 2 weeks of between each FlossTube, and we'll continue this journey together. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.